Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muyiwa Oyinlola, and I am privileged and honored to be leading this network. So the Ditch Plastic Network is short form for Ditch is short form for Digital Innovations for Transitioning to a Circular Plastic Economy in Africa. So in the next few minutes, I'll just be giving you a quick overview of the Ditch Plastic project, and my colleagues too will share some insights about the network. Okay, so just to add to Tommy's welcome, I want to say welcome to you all. For those of you joining us on YouTube, Facebook, as well as in the Zoom room, thank you for joining us. Just so that you know, the conversation is being curated online. So the hashtag for this event is Ditch Plastic Africa if you're tweeting, and our social media handles are at Ditch Plastic AF for Twitter, and Facebook is Ditch Plastic Network. Okay, and over the course of the project, we'll be using our website to update you on things that we're doing, and that's ditchplastic.org, as you can see on the screen. Okay, so what is the Ditch Plastic project? So first and foremost, we are funded by the UK Research and Innovation as part of the Global Challenges Research Fund. And so Ditch Plastic was funded as part of the Digital Innovations for Development in Africa call. So this call funded over 20 projects looking at using digital innovations to support development in Africa. You have a wide range of projects from healthcare, digital rights, and circular economy, like the Ditch Plastic Network. So who are we? We are a multisectoral, international, interdisciplinary network, and our aim is simple. We want to use digital innovations to accelerate the transition to a circular plastic economy in Africa. I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes, but just a bit more on the network. As I said, we are multisectoral, so we have universities both from UK and Africa. We have third sector organizations. We have innovation hubs, businesses. So we are a network and we are growing. As I said, we have UK and Africa partners, and we are focused on accelerating the plastic economy in Africa. So though we're focused on Pan-Africa, our partners are from around the world. So before I go on, I just want to tell you why we are doing this. So for those of you from Africa or who have been to Africa, I'm sure you'll agree with me that the solid waste management is a big challenge in Africa. The stats are a bit startling. So usually you will expect less than 50% is collected generally. And for example, in Nairobi, it's about 20%. And on top of that, the recycling rates are quite low. So if you look at Lagos, it's estimated that less than 10% of waste is recycled. So it's not uncommon to see waste dumped on the streets in Africa, as you can see in the picture. So that's one challenge. And if we keep that aside, there's an opportunity. So digital innovations have been very helpful in supporting development in Africa. So it helps us to leapfrog as a continent. So one area of example is the financial sector. So you have loads of development in terms of digital innovations for the financial sector. So for example, you have people in very remote areas who can make financial transactions, which would not have been possible without the advent of tools, digital tools. Okay, so we have that challenge. We have the opportunity of digital innovations and supported by the infrastructure development in terms of internet penetration and the likes. And so we're saying, we can use this opportunity to more or less solve the challenge of waste management using the circular economy. I'm sure most of you here are aware of the circular economy, and what we're doing is, yes, we want to move to a circular economy, and we want to see how we can use digital innovation to do that. So just to be clear, we're not reinventing the wheel. There are quite a lot of digital innovations that are in waste management across Africa, and I've put some of them here. I'm also glad that quite a number of them are represented on this webinar, and I look forward to discussing their input to discussion this afternoon. So we have loads of these innovations across Africa, and so we recognize that, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel or do something similar, but instead we're trying to work with them and other stakeholders. And so in terms of the things we are doing, the first is we are trying to assess the strengths and weaknesses of these digital innovations. Yeah, so there are quite a number of them. What has worked well, what hasn't worked well, what are their challenges? We're also trying to identify opportunities, okay? So are there areas they can work together? Are there things they can share together? Recognizing that they are businesses and they will want to maintain their competitive advantage. Another important area is identifying gaps. So most of the digital innovations that are available are focused on collecting and recycling. However, that's just a part of the circular economy. So there are other areas that we think we need to explore. So just identifying what are the gaps and what digital innovations will be suitable to fill those gaps, or what do we need to develop to fill those gaps. So in things like behavior change, consumption, reducing consumption, building capacity for the circular economy, all those sorts of things. So we need to identify those gaps and see how we go. So using all this, we hope to develop a range of research questions that academia and researchers from around the world can study, and also developers and innovators can fill. And then also, quite importantly, we also want to be able to recommend policy changes that will support this transition. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what we are trying to do as a network. And how are we doing it? So as I highlighted, we are an international network, and we have strong sets of partners that have a reach across Africa. And so we will be using our strong Pan-African network to engage with various stakeholders. So government agencies, policymakers, civil society organizations, startups, investors, and even the waste management personnel. So right down to the grassroots, to the informal economy, waste pickers and the like. So it's a very broad engagement, and we'll be engaging with them to understand and be able to prefer solutions and help. Okay, so that's what we are and what we're doing. And please feel free to drop questions in the chat box or in the Q&A tab, and we'll be sure to answer your questions. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the discussions. I will now hand over to my colleagues, Dr. Jeff Brighty from Plastic Oceans and Dr. Selma Lendelvo from the University of Namibia, who will tell you more about their engagement with the Ditch Plastic Network.
This really came from when she was seeing plastic pollution when she was out on location doing filming, and the BBC at that time were only interested in showing really how the ocean was, as opposed to showing all the bad parts. So they weren't showing the pollution. And so Joe was really exercised about this, and had heard about this thing called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and wanted to go and film it. And basically 7 years later, she created a groundbreaking documentary called A Plastic Ocean, which was really aiming to make as many people as possible aware of the issue of plastic pollution, what impacts it was causing, not just to the ocean, but to human health as well, to educate and engage, but then also start to drive towards solutions. So ditch plastic falls very much into that. So what are we going to do about improving our management and stewardship of plastic wherever? And I'm here in the UK, and I can absolutely guarantee that our plastic is not well managed here. Not all plastic is fully recycled. A lot of it is sent to energy from waste or is sent to landfill. So we have a lot still to do in the UK, as in many other economies around the world. So over the last 11 years since we've been going, 3 critical learning points, I guess, are relevant to ditch plastic. The first one is all about this issue about impact for change for the ocean and the wider environment. We know that 80% of plastic is coming from inland. We know it's going to end up ultimately down river systems and into the ocean, and particularly in that sort of coastal strip. And what we need to do essentially is to turn off the tap of plastic getting in from the landmass to the ocean. And we need to do a number of things here, one of which is stop the dumping of all waste, but particularly plastic, because once it gets into the ocean, it's escaped. We can't do anything with it. So ultimately, our aim as an NGO is to protect the environment, but particularly the ocean and the rivers that connect the two. The second issue is about people, particularly the impacts of plastic via the environment. So, for example, we know that plastic, if it's not well managed and taken to a reprocessor or recycled in some way, it will lead to, for example, blocked drainage systems that can lead to standing water in communities, and so we have disease risk coming from that, as well as flood risk from poor drainage. So that's just the physical presence of plastic in the environment. Similarly, where we have limited infrastructure for waste management, we know that there is a subsistence economy for waste collection, but also there's burning of plastic and other materials, and that's a really bad impact for human health. We've seen mass waste burning. And of course, countries like the UK have been exporting the waste plastic that we can't treat to a range of countries around the world, and that practice is coming to an end, I'm very pleased to say. So what we don't want to be doing is exporting our problem to someone else to then deal with. And part of that then is a bit about how we then work with a whole range of other partners to ensure that the most challenged communities that don't have that infrastructure are able to manage the waste that they are generating, and hopefully trying to reduce it and recycle it and get value back. And that was kind of going well until COVID hit. And I think COVID has paused a lot of progress we've been making over the last few years. So it'd be interesting to understand from everybody on the call where COVID is, you're seeing a change to people wanting more packaging, for example, or whether that's now getting into the environments like the masks and gloves that we were seeing offshore in March and April. But then ultimately it's about solutions and how we create the impact. So moving from the ocean and the environmental impact and people, how do we drive through to solutions? And there's almost a unique set of solutions coming forward for a range of challenges through digital innovation. And we're really interested to see how this is working in sub-Saharan Africa and elsewhere for that matter. And it's about empowering communities to say no, to be able to reduce their plastic impact on themselves, maybe by having better packaging or packaging that's more readily recyclable. But actually, wherever packaging does come into their lives, is they're able to have better ways of that collecting and managing. And digital innovation is one of the solutions that is coming to the fore. So for us, it's about how we define that challenge and how we can then find solutions that meet the challenge. My final point really is that many countries have plastic policies, and there's some really progressive policies coming from countries in Africa, and we're keen to see some of those perhaps land into the UK and into Europe. So I would cite Rwanda, which banned plastic bags straight up because of the impact it was causing. So really, but policies are great, but actually then how do policies land on the ground and what change does it make? So we're here to contribute our understanding and knowledge, but we're here also to learn from the project and see how digital innovation can make a big difference to the communities that are facing the plastic pollution. So I'll hand back to you, but thank you very much for the opportunity to share our thoughts. And we're really engaged with this project and look forward to hearing people's views. So I'll end there, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. So now I'll hand to Selma. You can share your screen, please.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you so much for this opportunity this afternoon. I'm going to talk on behalf of my partners, colleagues on the project, on the beach plastic project. I haven't actually put all their names on, but I encourage each and every one of us to visit our website and just have a little bit look on who the partners are for this project. First of all, I want to start off with a very common expression that there is an elephant in the room. As we have just heard from the two speakers, this project is very beneficial to Africa. It allows African partners to network within and beyond in fighting this common enemy, this enemy of the plastic waste. And it will be able to ignite opportunities, gaps, and challenges to help us identify solution to this plastic waste problem. I was just going into the website of one of the Namibian recycling forum, and on their introductory page, they indicated that Namibia's population might be small, but our waste problem is huge. And I believe that the same can be said for nations of any size too. Could we say that this is a pandemic? Perhaps because we have not seen immediate death tolls. That's why we are mute about this. But surely this is a huge problem. An elephant in the room. And when an elephant is in the room, I put an expression there, it is not easy to tackle alone, but one will need others for us to be able to tackle. And I'm just glad that, Jeff, you mentioned the issue of the effects of the COVID. One of the pictures there is just indicating how the masks, the disposed masks are lying around, contributing to the problem that we were trying to fight over the years. The Ditch Plastic Project is all about networking. It's about co-learning, it's about co-inventing, it's about co-identification of solutions and opportunities. Surely, it is not inventing the wheel, but awakening sleeping dogs by exploring exciting innovations, existing innovations, interventions, networks, and engagements. This project will also trigger new ways, as we have just heard from Jeff, that his contribution is really to bring forth new innovations, new way of doing things. It will also contribute or enhance the economy. It is really about linking role players together to solve the waste problem. And I was equating this role player aspect to solving this problem to the big five in an African national park per se. If you have the big five in a national park, then believe me, you have a high value. And that is why we are looking in the same lens of engagement involving different sectors. For example, our big five in terms of networking could be government agencies, the academia, private organizations, the industry, and even the civil society. So networking is very core to the Ditch project. The University of Namibia, where I come from, we really embrace this opportunity of being part of the Ditch project as a very valuable opportunity, because it allows us to connect to other African and global partners. This project also allows Namibia to learn from different corners of the African continent and globally. However, the project also allows Africa and the world to learn from Namibia. Surely my fellow partners on this project of the Ditch Plastic Project will echo this same statement for their nations as well. This project will be fundamental in helping us knitting things together, thereby having this beautiful, innovative network revolution. Africa has many problems, as we know, that requires attention. But the plastic waste is not only a big problem, but to me, I see it as an urgent one. As I was now looking at a lot of aspects that have been going on worldwide, I decided to put on this clip where we say, join the millions in reducing the plastic waste. We were saying that a plastic free July. And I believe that the Ditch Project is very critical to this message, and we are serious about this message. And I think our partners throughout the inception of this project have been very, very vocal about moving towards such a message. I just want to thank you so much. And I hope that our networking and our contributions will help us at least to bring Africa to a better place for the environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Selma. Thank you, Dr. Jeff, and thank you, Dr. Muyiwa, for the introduction about the project and why you're interested in joining this network and this project. We're really thankful for that.